Hey, hi, hello. I'm Ray Ray, and today we're talking about BTS. Specifically, why the internet suddenly decided we're back to our OT7 feelings. As the BTS Army would say, the one true seven, especially after the hiatus from military service. Now, before anyone panics, I'm not here screaming, comeback confirmed, or summon world tour out of thin air. What I am here to do is to walk through what was actually said, what was actually posted, and why fans are reacting the way they are, without turning this into chaos. We see social media sites going crazy. We see OT7 everywhere, and we see the army ready for action at any moment. So let's slow it down and figure out what's real, what's implied, and what's just fandom math. Okay, this is where it actually starts. December 12th. V posts to his Instagram story. All seven of them. There's like the no caption doing the most. There was no announcement. There's no we're back speech. It's just seven of them, OT7. And if you've been around fandom long enough, you know exactly what that does to people. Because BTS usually doesn't move loudly, they move together. This isn't him shouting, come back! This isn't him teasing a tour, but it feels like something big. You don't need a press release for this one. The hype is quiet, but you can feel it. And then later, that same day, we get this Suga and Jimin. Just the two of them, together. But here's the part some people might not know. Earlier this year, Suga was involved in an electric scooter accident. He was riding an electric scooter after drinking. It resulted in a minor injury, and he issued a public apology. And then, after that, he went very quiet. No casual social media posts, no random check ins, just absence. So, this is his first social media post since that incident. And he doesn't come back alone. He pulls Jimin into the photo with him. And not something somewhere casual, but looks very similar to the dance practice studio V just posted in. That's not accidental. It's not loud. And it's not dramatic, but it is controlled. V announcing OT7, then Sugar and Jimin, same date, same slow burn energy. This is how BTS builds hype. They don't announce, they tease. Nobody's saying come back, nobody's saying tour, but it feels like this is the temperature that's slowly rising quietly, you know? And everyone is getting super, super excited. At this point, this is where social media completely loses its mind. Because BTS fans don't need instructions. They saw their posts. They saw OT7. They see the timing. They see Sugar posting again. And they know. So these posts get shared immediately across platforms, across time zones, across languages. Because this isn't a fandom operation. This is a global operation. Within hours, it's everywhere. Fan accounts, news sites, group chats that haven't been active in months suddenly waking up. And that's the thing about BTS. When they move, even quietly, it ripples the whole entire global space. Nobody needs to translate this feeling. Excitement looks the same in every country. So yeah, while no official date, you get the vibes. And the reaction tells you how much pent up anticipation the fans have. This hype wasn't created by marketing. This hype was created by their absence for being gone from military service. So when BTS shows up together again, the world notices. And once this starts circulating, mainstream media jumps in. You see Cosmopolitan picking this up. And it's talking about them in the dance studio together, the post that V posted, right? So when you click on the article, you're like, oh, great, I see a video clip. And you lean forward and you're like, okay, maybe this is something exciting, something new content. And you realize it wasn't. I mean, it's still cute. I mean, it's them playing their favorite fashion trends game, and don't get me wrong, right? I mean, I do love BTS content. I do binge on that. But I mean, this is a perfect example by Cosmopolitan, you know, that the hype is real. And even though there is no performance clip, no choreography reveal, no announcement hiding the background, it still spreads. And it's spreading globally across so many different platforms that even a casual fashion magazine can make it into a global headline. Kind of wild, right? Then on December 12th, Jungkook speaks, not in an interview, not through a press release, on Weverse, which matters because Weverse is where BTS talks directly to fans. Jungkook starts hinting at the album, not naming it, not dating it, just saying little things like, the song's really good, or this it's gonna be really cool, and he's just being super casual about it, and he's being so adorable on Weverse. He's messing around and You could feel the energy, but it's a slow burn energy, right? Then later, in an interview with El Korea, Jungkook says, I think the spring will be more important than ever because he's hinting at BTS's comeback and possibly their song Spring Day. And I don't know how much more hints you need to get hyped about this, but spring is definitely going to be good year for a BTS comeback, right? And in the interview, Jungkook wishes us all to have a safe and enjoyable spring. So trust me, it the album drops, it's going to be very, very enjoyable. But as to safe, like personally safe or my wallet is safe because I don't think my wallet or my bank account will be safe if a global tour hits and I'm gonna try to catch a concert or two, right? So, but anyways, regardless of that, feast your eyes on this. That's all 9 of his covers for El Korea. Pretty delish, you know? I think it's delish. Okay, so this is where the internet officially loses its mind. Because once the Weaver's Live wrapped up, it didn't stay in the army space for long. City counts, media counts, everyone picked it up at the same time. The headline says 2026 comeback, and people immediately latched onto spring. Now, does that mean exactly March 2026? Not confirmed, but spring technically starts in the month of March, so I think that's enough for fandoms to start circling dates on calendars, even though they don't actually know the dates yet. But that matters more than anything else because right now we know that all 7 members are together and they're anticipating a new album drop. We see them rehearsing. So the noise is real, and all the naysayers who said BTS is falling apart and BTS is no longer relevant and all that other doomsday stuff, they're being shut right down right now because the hype is real and people are excited. And when BTS starts hinting at stuff, they're serious about it. And this hint about a album dropping in spring 2026 is not new, okay? Because when the um when the group got together after their military hiatus, when all 7 members together, they did a Weverse, session, right? And it was the first time they were together, and it was really adorable because they didn't really have a script or plan or anything for this. But they did talk about them getting old, and they talked about gaining weight on their bellies and not having the ripped abs that they used to have. And Jimin lamenting about how his hair takes so long to grow and he can't wait till it grows back faster. It's really adorable. And through this, they hint, just casually dropping by, like, oh, you know what? There's going to be a new album next spring. That's the date, next spring. And as you can see in the translation text, it did say next spring. So we knew from a long time ago that it is coming in spring, but it's just we're getting fed small little nuggets of information, and fans are just getting really, really super excited. But we don't have any more information than that. No samples, no teasers, no nothing. Right? But I mean, we gotta get what we gotta get, right? Let them craft the best album yet, so that we can all enjoy it together, right? So, for those that need a little refresher on the BTS hiatus timeline, you know, from 2022 to 2024, all group members parted ways. And this is to fulfill the military service requirement for males in South Korea. And this wasn't a breakup. They tried their best to reassure fans that this is just temporary, and they'll come back together. And while fans had lots of hopes, there was still always a fear of like them disbanding. So fans emotionally died several times during this period of time. Lots of times probably because of all the negative news going out there. And then you see in 2024 to 2025, the members start trickling back in after fulfilling their commitment. And they didn't just sit on the couches doing nothing. They went to work on solo projects, features, fashions. They checked in with their fans on Weavers. They gave fans a reassurance that although they weren't all physically together yet, they weren't sitting around and doing nothing. They're preparing. They're giving us the anticipation. So now you see, with several announcements and several hints of spring 2026, you know, of a possible album drop, a world tour, a comeback that's probably going to be epic, right? Um, we feel it, we see it, and we're all anticipating it hardcore. Okay, so now in this section, We're gonna do a little quick refresher for all of you who are new to BTS, need a like a a little gap in memory and stuff like that. So we're gonna go over all 7 members. Okay. All right. First up is RM. His name is Kim Namjoon, and he's the leader of BTS. And honestly, the reason half their interviews don't spiral into chaos by minute 3. RM joined the group as a teenager. He was 18 years old when BTS debuted in 2013, which means he basically grew up leading 6 other humans on a global stage with cameras everywhere. No pressure, guys. Really, no pressure. Now, RM is the kind of guy who speaks, thinks, and then thinks again while still speaking, and somehow turns complicated emotions into sentences that actually make sense. He's famous for breaking expensive things, but also for breaking down really complex ideas, culture, identity, and growth in his lyrics. If it sounds deep on the first listen, it hits harder on the third listen, usually late at night, when you suddenly understand what he meant. And yes, it's true. His English skills were unlocked accidentally by watching Friends. Yeah, Friends, which is iconic and still funny at the same time. During the group hiatus, RM didn't disappear. He went inward. He released solo music that was quiet, reflective, and very walking alone at night with your thoughts energy. He spent time reading, traveling, visiting museums, and basically becoming the most philosophical version of himself. RM was also one of the first members to return and check in publicly after enlistment, reassuring fans, grounding expectations, and doing what he always does, setting the emotional tone. When things get complicated, he becomes the group's emotional translator, calmly explaining what everyone is feeling before anyone panics. Low key, he's the glue holding the 7 very different personalities together. And now you have Kim Shook Jin. Okay, before we spiral into comeback conspiracy theories, we have to pay respect to the original Chaos Gremlin himself, Jin. And he is the oldest member of BTS, and yet he refuses to behave like that because he should be responsible. So, like, old age or oldest one in the hierarchy doesn't mean that he's gonna be it, right? He is living proof that maturity is optional. He also introduced himself to the world as worldwide handsome with absolutely zero hesitation. And honestly, that confidence alone pays his rent. Jin's special talent is this: he will make you laugh first, like full what is happening laughter, and then when your guard is down, he will quietly wreck you with his vocals when you least expect it. Like, oh, cute, he was joking. Wait, what? He could sing like that? And the moment anything gets emotional, Jin will jump in with his dad jokes and chaos like he is getting paid per interruption. But do not be fooled. He pretends not to care, and yet he absolutely cares, like aggressively. He is soft, he is loyal, and he will roast you while handing you emotional support. Also, Jin is the king of being comfortable. He eats well, sleeps well, and complains well. That is not a flaw, that is a lifestyle brand. And when the room goes quiet and awkward, Jin turns that silence into comedy like it is an actual certified skill. Somehow he is both the mood breaker and the mood saver, sometimes within the same 10 seconds, which is why this is important. Jin is proof that being a little unserious can still be a leadership style, because keeping everybody relaxed when the pressure is high, that's leadership too. Quick timeline note for New Army or anyone who blacked out during the hiatus. BTS debuted in 2013, and Jin joined Big Hit in 2011. So he basically been in the same 7 man, one group chat life for like well over a decade. And as of December 2025, he is 33, born December 4th, 1992. So yes, he is the eldest, and yes, he will still act like the world's funniest youngster. Now for the military part. Jin was the first one back, discharged in June 2024, which is why the entire internet suddenly remembered how loud one man can be. So if we are tracking order of return energy, Jin came back first, then J Hope, and then the rest followed in 2025. Meaning, Jin basically reopened the group's door, turned on the lights, and immediately started causing problems in the best possible way. This is Suga. His real name is Min Junji, and he is the definition of acts like he does not care while caring deeply. He is 32 years old, joined BTS back in 2013, and he is one of the members who came back later in the military return order, which honestly feels very on brand for him. Sugar has permanent cat energy, including the resting face that looks like he's judging you, your choices, and the room temperature. He's famously known for sleeping anywhere, anytime, like a professional skill he was trained for. The couch? the floor, the chair, mid conversation. He is the one who will say the blunt thing everyone else is thinking with zero sugarcoating because his tolerance for nonsense is extremely low. But here's the trick under all of that, he's secretly very soft. He just does not advertise it. Sugar has producer brain always on, even when he looks half asleep, especially when he looks half asleep. He will disappear for a while, say absolutely nothing publicly, and then suddenly drop something emotionally devastating and pretend it was no big deal. He is soft spoken, but somehow still intimidating. He looks calm while casually saying something that hits you right in the chest. He roasts you quietly instead of loudly, and somehow that makes it worse. And honestly, Sugar is living proof that silence can be a personality. So if RM translates emotions, Sugar distills them down to one sentence that hurts but makes sense later. This is V. His real name is Kim Tae Hyun, and he generally looks like a movie character who wandered into the wrong set and decided to stay. He's 30 years old, joined BTS in 2013, and during the military return timeline, he came back later than some members, which honestly kind of fits his slightly off the main timeline energy. He has a deep voice that catches new fans off guard every single time. When you see his face, you expect one thing. And when he speaks, and everyone has to recalibrate, he operates entirely on vibes, not explanations. He will say something confusing, pause, and then refuse to clarify. Because if you get it, you get it. And if you do not, that is apparently your journey. His fashion sense is either absolutely genius or completely unhinged, depending on the day, the mood, and possibly the weather. He makes intense eye contact and lets people deal with it, which is a choice. V feels like he lives slightly in a different timeline, just adjacent enough to ours to be visible, but never fully aligned. He treats photo shoots like an art project and interviews like a suggestion box, which explains a lot. And somehow he manages to be very quiet while also being the center of attention at the same time. This is proof that being strange is not a flaw, it's actually a brand. During the hiatus, V leaned hard into solo artistry, music, fashion, and creative expression that felt deeply personal, not rushed, and very intentional. He did not disappear, he just drifted artistically, and now the energy is folded back into the group. This is J Hope. His real name is Ho Shuk, and he is also known as Hobby. He is the human sunshine right up until the music starts. He is 31 years old, joined BTS in 2013, and he is one of the earlier members to return from military service, which honestly makes sense because the group runs on his energy. Off stage, he is goofy, warm, and smiles like he plays around with it. On stage, he switches so fast from playful to terrifyingly good that it feels illegal. That is when you remember he is the main dancer, and he makes everything look easy in a way that feels deeply unfair. He reacts to everything with his entire body. He laughs first, claps second, and laughs again, usually louder. Do not let that fool you. He is secretly very serious about his craft in a way that shows up in discipline, precision, and relentless practice. J Hope will hype everyone else louder than himself, even when he's clearly the one carrying the room. He brings chaotic encouragement to every practice space, turning stress into momentum and nerves into movement. He is proof that joy can be a leadership skill, not soft leadership, not passive leadership, the kind that keeps people moving when they are tired. During the hiatus, J Hope leaned into solo music, performance, and growth, showing a sharper, more intense side of himself while still carrying that unmistakable optimism. He did not lose the sunshine, he just added structure to it. At his core, he's the emotional engine of BTS, the one who somehow makes discipline feel like fun and hard work feel survivable. This is Jimin, and his full name is Park Jimin, and he's the definition of an angel face with menace lurking underneath. He is 29 years old, joined BTS in 2013, and returned from the military service mid group, quietly, without theatrics, exactly the way that you would expect from someone who saves everything for stage. When he dances, he does not move so much as floats, like gravity is optional and everyone else just forgot the rules. He could switch from shy, clingy, soft spoken human to fully lethal performer with absolutely no warning, and that transition alone has ended entire fandoms. His voice sounds gentle at first, and then, without raising the volume, it emotionally wrecks you. He sings like he's confessing something private and somehow makes it your problem. He accidentally flirts just by existing. He's not trying. That's the most dangerous part. The members baby him constantly, and he allows it right up until the moment he reminds everyone that he's absolutely not a baby. Elegant, chaotic, soft, intense. He is proof that elegance and chaos can coexist in the same human. He is known for being physically small, but his stage presence is enormous. Once the music starts, the room belongs to him. He laughs easily off stage, but takes his performances very personally, carrying the weight of every movement, every note, every reaction. He will cling to members backstage, shy and affectionate, and then dominate the stage 5 minutes later like he never was nervous a day in his life. During the hiatus, Jimin focused heavily on solo music, vocal control, and emotional expression while refining the contrast between softness and power that defines him. He did not reinvent himself. He sharpened what he already had that made him dangerous. At his core, Jimin was quietly intensifying Jimin is the quiet intensity of BTS. That reminder that vulnerability does not weaken performance, it amplifies it. This is Jungkook. His full name is Jungkook, the Gold McKay, aka the youngest member in the group, who accidentally learned how to do absolutely everything. He's 27 years old, joined BTS in 2013 at just 15. He was the last to enlist and the last to return, closing the hiatus circle exactly the way the youngest would. He tries something once and he's suddenly elite at it. The skill is a side effect that he did not ask for. He pretends to be shy, avoids eye contact, downplays everything, and then casually drops jaw dropping performances like he forgot we were watching. He's covered in tattoos and somehow deeply baby coated, which should not be possible, but here we are. He competes with himself more than anyone else, constantly raising his own bar and then acting shocked when he clears it. He will say something completely serious like, I'm not good, and then immediately prove otherwise while making a big deal about it. Singing, dancing, performing, he treats all of it like casual hobby, as if it's not the other thing as if it's not the other thing people spend their entire lives trying to master. He is living proof that talent plus chaos is a dangerous combination, especially when paired with relentless work ethic. And somehow, even after all of this, he still looks genuinely surprised every single time he realizes he's good at something. During the hiatus, Jungkook focused heavily on solo music, live vocals, physical training, and creative independence, releasing personal projects that showed not just skill but control. Not the Golden McKay being carried, the Golden McKay carrying himself. At his core, Jungkook is BTS's momentum, the embodiment of growth, pressure, and possibility, the one who started as the youngest and came back standing fully on his own. So, after walking through all 7 members, the real question is what does that actually mean for BTS going forward? Across Korean media and longtime fan discussions, the expectation is not that BTS comes back sounding the same. The expectation is maturity. This group did not just take 2 or 3 years break. They lived separately. They worked alone, and then most of them went through military service. That combination tends to change how artists write. Expect the sound to be some more layered and intentional, less about chasing trends, more about choosing them. Lyrically, there should be strong expectation that themes shift from youth and urgency and towards reflection, identity, responsibility, and time. Not darker, just deeper. Sugar, RM, and J Hope all spent the hiatus producing, writing, and refining their individual voices, which suggests the group's music may feel a little bit more cohesive but also more deliberate. V and Jimin explore emotional range and performance identity in very different ways, which sets expectations for more textured melodies and mood driven tracks. Jungkook pushed himself publicly as a global pop performer, which raises expectation for strong vocal confidence and genre flexibility in the group work. And Jin returned after service adds a grounding presence, someone who's constantly balanced humor and with emotional sincerity. Another expectation that comes often in Korean media is balance. Less chaos, more control. Less proving themselves, more owning who they already are. That does not mean BTS will lose their energy or playfulness. It means that the intention behind it is clearer. So, what people are really expecting is not just a comeback. They're expecting a version of BTS that sounds like 7 adults who left a group, grew separately, and came back with something to say. One more thing that keeps coming up in Korean media and longtime spaces is pace. There's a real expectation that BTS won't rush this. Fewer drops, more intention, and probably a release schedule that actually lets people sit with the music. Same goes for touring. The expectation isn't more dates, it's bigger production, more control, and performances that feel like events instead of checkpoints. Another thing people are watching closely is balance. This feels less like one or two members carrying an era and more like all seven having space. Not competing, not proving anything, just showing up fully formed. So, yeah, whatever comes next for BTS, it shouldn't feel rushed. It shouldn't feel reactive. It should feel very planned and very deliberate. So, anyways, that is all for today for our little news highlight. So, if this kind of breakdown is helpful, the calm version, not the chaos, please go ahead and like the video. Subscribe if you want more K pop news without the imaginary drama. It helps us a new channel like this, and I promise I won't yell at you for clicks. I'm Rory. This is Obsessively Biased. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.